All right. Well, hey, Coaches Out for Change. It is Dee Corchin. It is Monday. It is December 12th, and I am happy that you are here. I see lots of us signing on. So we are in our final weeks as we're we're winding down 2022, gearing up for 2023. So we're going to talk about that. We've got a really great topic tonight, being led by Lori Cole on resetting your coach GPS. And we had a little bit of fun kind of doing some analogies and how we thought this could work. But before we get there, just wanted to just take a couple minutes just to make sure you guys are aware of a few things and just talk about some stuff that I think is very promising as we are headed into the new year. So I just posted about this, but I'm going to go ahead and screen share because I wanted to show you that we are going to do again. The Compass Crew is going to do these New Year, New You webinars, and these are going to take place the week between Christmas and New Year's. So they start on Tuesday, the 27th, and then Wednesday and Thursday, all at different times of the day. We did this last year. I don't know if you guys remember, I even led one of them, but they're great because this is a time when people are trying to make their decisions, etc. So, but most importantly, it gives you a great opportunity to invite people. So what they'll do, if you haven't participated in something like this before, is they'll do an overview of the program, the 4 components of the program, and have also an overview, a light touch on coaching. It's always a very light touch to show what's possible. And then of course have stories to validate. So this is perfect for your candidates. It's perfect for you to invite people to that you've done health assessments that haven't signed up yet, to invite your inactive clients too. Yes, Kim, thank you. It's already been posted in there. It's actually a Facebook event that you can join and share. You can absolutely publicize this, we'll probably do some more training on this, but you can publicize it on your Facebook page. But just remember, that's just a layering. What actually gets people to the event is when you specifically invite them, and why you've invited them. The other thing, as I shared, I'm just going to tell you, if you haven't been around Optavia around the holidays, is that you can expect that probably over the next week or so that things will get a little bit quiet. They will get quiet with your clients. They'll get quiet as far as, people potentially reaching out to you. But what's most important to know is those people and those individuals are still out there. I encourage you to do whatever you can to make connection with your clients, even if it's just, calling them or leaving a voice text or a video message, letting them know you're thinking about them and, all the things. But also, this is the most important time for us to be on. You may be wanting to go quiet because it's the holidays, but it's actually the best time for us to be out there, really getting clear on what we want to create next year. But people are making their decisions right now on what they're going to be doing. So us being visible, your branding is more important than ever, your relationship building. I heard something this morning that was talking about what the world needs now and people are really craving was patience, kindness, compassion, generosity, and visible courage is what people yearn for and what we can give those that we care about. So I think if we can show up in that loving, compassionate way, that we truly care about our clients, our inactives, our potentials, that's who we are anyway. But let's make sure that the world sees that in our community and what we offer is unique. I also shared that Medifast had done a survey. It was done in late October, and the statistics were great. They surveyed Americans who said, yes, they have been impacted by the economy. They have felt it. They have cut their spending, but they do not plan to cut their time or their spending on health and wellness. And it also said that they considered health and wellness. It said US adults know that being healthy isn't all about food and nutrition, and know that their well-being is also impacted by sleep, exercise, and mental health. So those are all things. So remember, let's be promoting all that we offer and what we're doing to help others create health and not just weight loss. So I think this is a perfect transition to turn it over to Lori Cole on resetting our coach GPS.
Hey, thanks, Dee. This morning, I was attending the Habit Finders. They have a course called Cracking the Social Code, and they have a support call once a week. And I was listening to that. And one of the interesting algorithm tips was much like what Dee was talking about, takes about 28 days of consistent posting for Facebook to start pushing you out to the people that you're friends with. And I thought that was a really interesting statistic. In a world where there's a lot of hurt right now, it's a perfect opportunity to help others be seen. And we know that if we can help them be seen in just small ways, like sending them a message, I see you're posting, and I just want to let you know that, you know, you're making an impact or something like that could be so helpful. So that's a side note. One of the things that has been on my heart is just kind of resetting what we truly believe about what we do. So tonight in the chat, and I'm going to circle this back around at the end, but I would love for you to go ahead and put the reason why you stepped into coaching. I love it. To make a difference, income, impact, community, accountability, to make a difference in others' lives, to pay it forward, to help others. Yes, so great. So great. So what we're going to think about tonight is this, the reason why you started. So one of the fun facts about me is I am a terrible GPS person in my car. I don't know what I do wrong. Like it must be some setting like avoid railroad tracks or something like that. But my GPS always takes me the long way, and everyone makes fun of me, and nobody lets me do it anymore because it's a mess. But it's interesting because I will end up at the right place eventually. And I think that that's kind of a fun analogy because we know where we want to be. We want to help other people. We want community. We want accountability. And sometimes the stories that we think kind of get us off track a little bit. And so one of the things that I want to talk about tonight is really identifying what we believe about ourselves and our business. So the format tonight, I've asked 3 coaches to share a couple of tips with you, and we're going to think about 3 key steps to resetting our coaching GPS. And before they start, though, one of the things that I think is super important is where am I with my own health? And one of the things that I've noticed is when my health is not in line with what I want, it's really difficult for me to have a great opinion about what I'm doing and influencing my business. So that's one thing on a side note. So here's my first question, and I'm going to let them answer. I'm going to let them do some talking here. But step 1 of resetting your coaching GPS is realization. And right with the GPS analogy, sometimes we have to figure out where we are. So I'm going to ask him if you will come off mute. And here's the question that I would love for you to think about. When things get hard, how do you have a realization about where you are? How do you show yourself self-care at this point?
So thanks, Lori. I will tell you, I am the biggest and worst storyteller to myself. And I start to notice in me, I start complaining about a lot of things just in life, right? In general. Oh, I wasn't picked for Synergy because whatever, I'm not good enough, right? Or that client didn't sign up because I just didn't do a good enough job on that call, or just everything. I just become very negative, and I have to start hearing that self-talk in my head, right? I have to recognize that. I start feeling unmotivated, and I'm starting to envy other people's success, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to be able to recognize that. And it was a loaded question because there was a lot in there. But when I start to recognize that, I have to just step away. For me, it's go out for a walk, Maybe it's jump on the treadmill because there's snow. It just, I have to be able to step away from everything just to clear my head. So that's what I do and how I start to recognize.
That's so good, Kim. Thank you. Hey, you guys, is Kim alone? Can you pop in the chat if you've ever felt like that? Do you tell yourself stories? Yeah, me too. Me too, Kim. And I think it's awesome that she recognizes, I feel the feeling. And I think in that first step, that realization is that we welcome our feelings. Frustration is standing here, self-doubt standing there. We don't say, oh no, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. I'm just going to power through. But we welcome those feelings, and then we are able to take them, put them in the chair where they belong, see what else we're thinking about and feeling, and realizing where we really are. I'm telling myself a lot of stories. So good in the self-care. Hey, Pat, will you come off mute and same question. What's a tip for how do you realize when you're having that feeling, and what's a tip that you'd like to share?
All right. Thank you, Lori. It's funny that Lori's probably amazed that I'm even on here. I did not feel like I should be the one to come and tell anybody how to get unstuck, because I'm pretty much feeling like the poster child. But it was a good exercise in helping me kind of evaluate what I can do and what I've done right, and what I can start doing. So I think, like Kim, well, first of all, just to recognize it, I think it's important to do your map, know where you are, know, kind of know when you start to fall away, keep weighing yourself, have accountability. Those are big things to recognize if you're slipping. But then like him, I do need to step away, but unfortunately I step away too much, and I think I like ignore and what's the word? Just maybe not denial, but just kind of I refocus on happier things. I've got a new grandbaby and a lot of fun things that I can think about, and so I have a tendency just to not go to the painful stuff or the hard stuff, and so consequently it's just obviously a vicious cycle. My health has suffered and my business has suffered. So like you said, the keys are to face it, to feel it, to mourn it if necessary, to realize, it's a hard season, and then get accountability, talk to people, and take small steps in the right direction.
That's so great, Pat. And did you notice she felt the feelings and then she moved into the action? So good. I have one more panelist, but I'm going to go, Lori, I'm going to go to the next question and let you answer that one first. So first step is realization, right? And resetting your GPS. Step 2 is to recenter yourself. So that button that says on your GPS, recenter. I press it a lot, so I've seen that one. And then all of a sudden, what you discover is that you've been looking around you, right? You're pulling out to the neighborhood there. You're looking at here. So it's comparison. And that's when we recenter ourselves on what we truly wanted. So Lori, I'm going to start with you on this next question. What tips do you have for us to recenter? How do we press that recenter button?
I think the first thing for me is really evaluating, what do I really want at this point in time? You can get so easily discouraged at times. But the feelings you were talking about, feeling very frustrated at times, and just stopping and asking myself, what do I really want? Do I want to do this anymore? Because if I do want this, whatever I'm doing right now isn't going to affect my business, and it's going to be reflective in 2 or 3 months out. And so if I'm feeling this way now, how am I going to feel in 2 or 3 months if I'm not doing it? So just like in my life with my other job, there are days you just don't feel like doing it, but you get up and you go anyway. because it's important. And I do enjoy the coaching. I do enjoy my full-time job. So we get up and we go, and just, taking that little break when you need to. And then, plot out what you want to do, plan how you're going to get there, and then execute with actions, and the feelings will follow. And that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Gosh, Lori, that's so good. So I heard her say, don't compare, stop, take a breath, figure out what you want, do the action anyway, and know that that you're gonna start seeing that your feelings are gonna follow. Such a good answer. Hey, Pat, I'll go back to you. Tell me about you. What tips do you have to recenter? I think you shared a little bit earlier, but tell us a little more.
I did something else. I was watching a Habit Finder call the other day, and Paul got us to, and I've revisited my why and why start this, but sometimes you even start doubting, are those still valid? Am I even making a difference? Your that negative self-talk kicks in. But what he did was take it even a step further and say, think back to before you were a coach, and maybe even before you heard of Optavia, is what he said. And maybe your health is not where it was when you reached your goal, if that's your case, like it is for me, but is it better than it was when you started? And obviously, yes, mine is. And then have you learned anything about health? Are you living better than you did before? Have you made a difference in other people's lives? Are you, even if you've had your worst month business wise, with the bottom line, is that money more than you were making, not doing it, so that really helped me just kind of take it back a level and not think so much about where I was, but I mean, like, a year ago, but think about where I was before all this, and just reset, just kind of get my priorities right, reasons for.
That's so good, Pat. And one of the things I love is that we have training for any topic that you could ever imagine or want. So there's something that we can all tap into. Like Pat said, she listened to the Habit Finder call, and there's something that we can always look at to encourage us to that next step in our recentering. You're like, well, I need more coach support. Well, there's a video for that, right? And we can show you kind of where those things are, but there's always the support for what you need to press the recenter button. And you guys, when we circled back to the reason that we put why we were all coaches, we all have gained all of those things, right? So there's so much to look forward to, and that's our recenter button that we press. So step 1 is realization of where you are. Step 2 is recentering. And here's the cool part. Step 3 is to respond with action. So this is where we move forward again. Like, what things can we do in these last couple of weeks? We don't have to press the pause button. Remember that algorithm I shared with you is 28 days of consistent posting starts feeding you into your friends that you have on Facebook. So it's going to be really important that we don't press the pause button, even if we are thinking about, we're baking cookies with our kids. So we're like, hey, I'm a health coach and I'm baking cookies right here, right? We're living our lives and being authentic and showing people that we can live in the world and we still are moving toward our health. So now we're going to talk about responding with action. So Kim, you're up next. Tell us about, how do you get unstuck? How do you respond with action?
Well, gosh, I think you've heard a little bit and how I'm going to respond to this already, but it's clarity on where you want to go. Just be really clear on what your vision is and where you're headed. and be honest, admit what you really want, right? And if you really want this business because you need to make more money, because you maybe have a different reason than somebody else on here, I think that's really important, to be honest, right, with yourself as to why you're doing this. And you have to have the courage to start. We have to push through the uncomfortable things, right? Making that first call is hard. It's super hard. I know I dragged my feet when I first started coaching, as it was really uncomfortable. But working for what you want is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Truly, there's no better feeling than looking at what you've achieved. And I hear Pat talk and I think, oh my gosh, she's done so much, right? And she doesn't give herself credit for all that she's accomplished throughout this journey. And so being able to, take those steps that are uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but we have to be brave enough to do it.
It's so good. And I think also, if I could add on, is to be curious about how we're feeling and what we should do instead of judging it. Let's lay those feelings down and not judge it. Let's just go for it and put ourselves out there. That's so great. Thank you, Kim. Lori, if you'll tell us the same answer, how do you move forward again? How do you get unstuck?
I guess I would just say the same thing I tell my clients when they feel stuck in their nutrition plan. Go back to the very basics. Just go back to what's comfortable to you, just to get you going again. Do what because you've got the experience in the basics, you get your confidence built back up and you get your momentum started with the basics. So start there, get your postings, start getting those posts going, make more connections, start talking to people, and just build yourself back up. And then just keep your eye on the prize, whatever that is, and just move forward.
So good. Thank you, Lori. And Pat, same answer. How do you get unstuck?
Well, besides what they've said, I think I just can't put enough emphasis on accountability. This little group of people right here are my main accountability. You three, and we did the 75 hard challenge a year ago, but we've just become support for each other. And I just think that having your coach and other co-coaches and friends, the community of this group is what keeps me going. And so lean into your coach, have some accountability, have them kind of be sure you're doing some steps and look at your page if needed, but don't try to get back alone. Lean into your support.
So good. On the other day, I heard a definition for accountability was to give an account. It is not to judge it, but it's just to give an account. It's like we tell our clients, hop on the scale on Monday because we want to give an account. It's not that we're going to go, the scale. We might, but have feelings about it, and that's okay. But in accountability, it's just a data point. It's a data point. So we give a data point. I'm struggling. Could you tell me some things to do? Sometimes I say to Dee, just tell me one thing. Just tell me one thing I can do this week. And then I go do it. And that helps get me unstuck because we know that action moves us forward. All right. And Kim, you wanted to share a quote.
Yeah. Well, I was going to just add one other thing I think I do is I dig back into my habits of health. And I'll tell you, when I first started coaching and I would hear on these calls, people say that, I was like, blah, 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 rah, rah, Optavia, right? But it is so true. There is nothing that grounds me better than starting to dig back into my habits of health book. I don't care how many times I've read a certain section, I always find something new in there. So I'm going to tell you that is really critical. But I wanted to share one quote with all of you before we ended, and it's by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And I don't know if any of you know who she is, but she's a psychiatrist who's done a lot of work on grief and grieving. And but the quote goes like this, and it really made me think of this group. The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen.
Wow.
I truly believe that I was brought to this program for a reason, right? And connected with this amazing community of beautiful people. So
We're going to
thank
need that
you.
on an image in our coach group, aren't we, guys? Wasn't that lovely? One of the things I want to say, and I have one more person to share tonight, but is, in 2020, 2021, our businesses were rocking and people were at home, and I had the highest frontline volume that I've ever had. And then things took a little bit of a dip for me. Remember, I've been coaching for 7 years, so I've seen the highs and the lows. And what I'll say is the personal growth that has occurred in the lows has made me really dig my heels in and find the authentic Lori who doesn't have it all together, who is trying to figure out her brand. Like, mamas, don't hide behind your kids. You have value. Show up for yourself. Let's lean in together in this hurting world. And for me, the personal growth and the vulnerability has been really hard, but you guys, I wouldn't trade it for anything. There have been calls that I sat with Dee and I said, Dee, please don't give up on me. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. And that's the beauty of our community, is to lean into your coach and just believe in yourself when you don't see it yet, because it's going to happen. And so with that, I have Shauna is one of my very best friends and has been for 20 something years. And, I was talking to her about this, and I wanted her to kind of share how she, realizes where she is, she recenters, and she responds with action. So before we shut it down, I'm going to let her do a quick share for us.
Thank you, Lori. So my dearest friend, I love her so much. When things aren't going the way I expect, which a lot of you, for right now, things may not be going the way you expect. I'm in that boat with you. I am learning to pivot instead of sitting in it, because I can go to catastrophic thinking very quickly. And the stories I tell myself are big. I surround myself with positive mentoring. Lori and Dee are both our mentors, and we mentor with both of them. If I were not to go to Lori and Dee and I were to pick somebody else to start talking to, we're going to quickly start getting negative, and we're going to start relating to each other, and we're going to start feeding into that. But when you go to your mentorship, they are going to sit with you and encourage you and help you to see the positive and not dwell on the negative. Any negative thoughts that you have, keep them with your mentorship, please, because that's a safe space for you to share. That's a safe space for you to be, and they're going to help you to maybe get curious around that and to maybe kind of seek out why you're going there. Since we're doing the GPS thing, if you're lost, how many of you seek out someone else who's lost to give you directions? I don't see a single hand up. I'm going to go to the person that knows where they're going, or that knows how to tell me to get somewhere, because I don't want to drive around for the next 5 hours with the other lost people in the world. So, your mentorship, I'm going to promise you, they're going to be your biggest ally. When I get in this pity party place, I'm trying to learn to become curious around it. And Lori did something the other day. It was a visual. We were trying to figure out my Zoom room, and we got on a Zoom at 6:30 in the morning. We both were right out of bed. And she was talking to me about, the thoughts in our head. And I want you to watch me. She said, I pick it up and I put it on the table in front of me. And that has stayed with me. I literally saw myself later picking this negative thought out of my head and putting it on the table and looking at it and becoming curious about, why am I so worried about this? Why is this upsetting me? Why am I angry about this? I want y'all to remember that. Remember Lori, watch her, see her do this. And the next time that you're in this really bad place and you're going to that catastrophic thinking, take it out. Like she said earlier, put it on the table, look at it, talk to it, get curious about why it's there. And I cannot express enough mentorship. Lean into them, y'all. They are there for you, and they're going to be your biggest help through all of this.
That's so good. Thanks, Shauna. Well, you guys, I hope, just remember your GPS, your coaching GPS, realize where you are, recenter yourself, respond with action. And, the thing is, your business is moving forward when we're growing. So I challenge you, get in with your mentorship, discuss your health, say, I'm giving an accountability, right? An account, not judgment, but just an account for where I am. I'm going to tell you one win that I'm going to hope to have this week. This is my one goal. Like if you're struggling, maybe your one goal is to eat 5 Fuelings and do the best you can with your lean and green. And then you start tightening up the next week, and you can bring that energy to your clients. So anyway, I hope that this has been a blessing to you. I know that we've kind of told you our souls, like we've had some hard times, but I hope that you see the hope that we have in our community and remember the reason why you started, and you've done that. All those reasons, you've done that. You've accomplished them. So I'm going to turn it back over to Dee. Thank you for letting me share. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Lori, and thanks to everyone who shared tonight, to Kim, to Pat, to Lori, and to Sean. Good. And if you're new to our call or whatever, like just the recognition is, and what I think it's so important to talk about is, number one, you're not alone. And this journey, like Lori said, is really about personal growth. And it sounds so cheesy, but honestly, your business will not grow faster than how you grow. And I was listening today to a podcast, and this counselor was talking about emotional maturity and emotional agility. And the more work we do on ourselves, the more aware we are, the more we can catch where we are and have the ability to correct, right? To be able not to correct or to change course. And so emotional agility is a thing that a term I would like you to think about. And as everyone said, like, just know that staying alone and staying in your head is a dangerous place to be, right? We want to see it, we want to feel it, we want to express it, but we also want to be able to let it flow through us and move on. And it's through that growth. There's no hacks, there's no shortcuts, there's no quick fix. It's like our weight loss plan, right? You can't hack it, you can't do that with our business either, right? Lori said it, it's about showing up and showing up consistently, and when we don't necessarily feel like it, but when we stay rooted in what we truly desire, and why we started, and that clarity of where we're going, that's where the magic happens. It's not always on our time. It's not always at the pace we want. And I think the only thing that could really mess us up is unmet expectations. So learning how to navigate that, and you're in a great space. So thank you for being here tonight, guys. Excited to be with you again next week for Team Time. We do have our synergy starting right after this. So congratulations to those. And Kim, it was nothing personal that you were not selected. It was 100% random. But anyway, great to have everybody here tonight, and have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.